And Newbie took game one. 1-0. So we have the final moments there. We'll be able to check that out and really get a better picture here between these two teams.
And EG gave away a first pick Lesh, getting Queen of Pain in return.
And Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's dubious giving Leshrac away, I think, in almost any circumstance. And it didn't really seem like they were very well equipped to deal with that, on top of the Storm Spirit. And they had 3 Invis heroes. A lot of teams don't even like picking 2. But I mean, it was a newbie performance.
It's pretty interesting because one of the strengths that we have talked about a lot for EG is that we feel like PPD is an incredibly good drafter and captain and never gets outpicked. To me, he has like that one rare off game, like say every 20th game or something, where the draft just, he has a plan and then it gets thwarted, or he overthinks things and just ends up with something bad. I feel like this, personally for me, this is an outpick. Like, pretty clearly, newbie have tons of ways of fighting. EGs they have like a very specific way things need to happen for it to be favorable for them, and Newbie just took full advantage of it.
I think even more so than the wildcard teams, like Newbie have nothing to lose because they already won a TI. They're just like, we're just here to see what happens.
You bring up a good point. I mean,
not the invite guys will just hang out and crush EG.
No pressure.
Not that they're taking it lightly, but they did win TI once. Of course, in some senses, they are defending champions, but at the same time, as we've been going around and just listening in, it sounds like their general attitude is they don't look at themselves as a favorite. So in that case, sure, we're defending champions, but we have nothing to lose. A lot of people aren't actually in the community aren't expecting Newbie to do that well either. So they probably were a lot more relaxed going in against EG, who are definitely one of the favorites, at least in terms of the community. So EG playing against the defending champions of TI. Of course, EG has had a great performance earlier in the year at DAC. They won first place there, and that was when Sumail really shined, right? Sumail coming up as kind of that prodigy, one of the youngest players now coming back as a superstar in EG. And we have a closer look at Sumail and his story leading up to TI5.
When I first met Sumail, I knew this kid was going to be big.
Sumail and me started playing Dota when I was 15 and he was 8. He had this passion. For Sumail, all that mattered was being the best.
His desire to compete at the highest level, his will to be a professional, that was the most prominent thing that I got from him. So when a spot opened up on Able Geniuses, Sumail was the first person that we thought of.
At first, Sumail's parents were very skeptical about esports, but even though it was a very scary decision, his parents really believed in him.
I lived in Pakistan for 15 years, and growing up, I wanted to play so bad that I sold my bicycle just to play for more hours.
We had no car, so I bought a small pit bike. It was only meant for one person, but we got like 4 persons on it, and we rode all the way to the gaming zone. We just started playing the whole day. Pakistan doesn't have much resources to fulfill the needs of gaming, and to play the game, it's very easy over here.
My dad worked really hard to get me and my family here. I live with 8 family members in a small apartment, and I share my room with 3 family members.
It's really mesmerizing for all of us. And he's been playing so fast, never tired, never get bored.
I play about 9 hours a day. It needs a lot of hard work and dedication, and in Dota there's always something new, so you just can't stop.
Sumail's entire life revolves around Dota. Aside from school and his family, this is pretty much his life. This is what he's been doing since he's been 6. I think he's established himself quickly as one of the most skilled mid players in the game. But I think what's going to be really important for him as he develops is how he interacts with his teammates.
I have a lot of room to improve, and Fair is like the most experienced player. So I've learned a lot from him, and I think he's like one of the main reasons I'm here now. At Summit 3, I thought I was the only reason our team lost because I just played so poorly. Fair helped me learn just to trust your teammates. He told me that the good players learn from their mistake and not get upset. Instead, they practice out, and that's how you become the best.
Sumail's definitely a confident player. He came in at 15 years old and somehow managed to win the biggest prize pool outside of the international. And a lot of that had to do with his confidence in himself. If he didn't have that, under all of that pressure, I think most players would have just crumbled.
all this fame, all this money, all this glory, it didn't change him. That's the best part of who he is.
He's really ambitious. He always been saying to his mom and dad, let me do this, and one day I'll make you all proud of me. And he's doing it. He's on his right path.
I'm excited about everything in my future, but I'm possibly more excited than anything else about winning TF5. TF5 is everything. You win this, you win everything.
So yeah, TI5 is everything. You win this, you win everything. Pretty accurate description, of course. I mean, sure, there are a lot of other tournaments that are important that people remember, but at the end of the day, everyone always talks about who's going to go to TI, who's going to win TI, who's defending TI as a champion. That's been the title, and I mean, Sumail, this kid, really, a kid, right? And coming in, huge spotlight on him, and he says he felt that pressure a little bit, of course, talks about how he was a little bit too hard on himself maybe, but now, of course, his teammates, especially Fear, bringing him in and saying, hey, listen, the best players will learn from their mistakes, and they go on, and Sumail looks like he's been on that path, coming back in, being a little bit more steady. What do you guys think about Sumail and EG, just overall Sumail's part in EG? Like, how crucial is he to that team?
Well, EG has been one of the teams that have benefited the most from just, like we've talked about it previously, having like the match of young talented player and old experienced, like a steady player like Fear, right? And Sumail, I think when he joined the team, the way they started drafting was that they started giving him a lot of space. They tried to really incorporate him in the team and really set up so that he could play under the best conditions, so that he could shine, because they knew he had the talent, but they needed to make sure that, you know, if you take a player like that, like you said, and put him in a pressured situation with like minimal support, say, from the, and you just leave him on his own, it can of course be really dangerous. But I think they, as a team, they incorporated him very well into the EG model of how they wanted to run their team, and it's been super successful.
Yeah, and of course, just now, sure, they lost one game to Newbie, but for those of you, I mean, if you are interested, first of all, if you've been following Dota 2 for a little bit, you definitely have heard of EG, and let alone Sumail. But if not, if you're newer still after watching that, definitely go over, feel free to check out our third stream. That's where they'll be playing Game 2 versus Newbie, see if they can tie it up at least, start with a point. And on that note, those two teams are in Group B, and that group started earlier with Newbie versus VP. So we'll take a quick look at the standings here, of course, now wrapping up Group A for the day. So day one, Group A, we're done with it. Even here, we will be moving on to Group B. We've had now a couple matches for Group A. Maybe we can get a little bit of a feel for where teams stand and exactly how much harder maybe Group A is compared to Group B as it comes up here. But LGD going strong, as we mentioned earlier. They finished 2-0, so 6 points. Secret and Complexity, 4 and 3 points each. And then we do have Navi Fnatic with the ties, and then MVP, Cloud9, IG, all with only 1 point each. So no team ending the day with a 0-2 record. So that's a pretty good sign for things to come. Things do seem to be pretty even on the side of Group B. Again, only one match between Newbie and VP. They tied 1-1. So we'll be finishing that group up in the later half of the day, see how the points pan out. On Group A, so far, of course, we've only had certain matchups. We haven't had all the teams playing around robin. Anything surprise you guys, Ben, or is it just so far kind of what you'd expect?
Pretty much what I'd expect. I don't think there's too many surprises. MVP, I think, taking a game off Navi, I think Winter and I were actually pretty surprised about. I mean, Navi dominated them game number 2, but in game one they struggled.
Yeah, MVP Phoenix definitely gave them a run for their money, and I think a lot of people weren't expecting that particularly. I mean, sure, we talk about Secret losing a game to Fnatic. Maybe that's a little surprising to some people. But MVP Phoenix, the fact that they're still here to put up a fight after the wildcard play-ins, and after they struggled a little bit in the wildcard play-ins to secure that second spot, that would be something to keep an eye on. Now, for Group B, for us, this is the moment Syndrome's maybe been waiting for all day. We are going to watch 2 Team Empire games in a row. How excited are you about that?
I'm really excited because I think relative to like the general expectation, it seems to be like across the panel and across the world. I think I'm expecting more of Empire than most are, and I'm just really curious to see them play, as well as of course Vici Gaming. Oh, this is not good.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll get you some water.
All right, I think I'm good. So, yeah. The Empire versus Vici is going to be really interesting to see because, yeah, those are 2 teams I expect a lot from, and I'm just curious to see if they get off on the right foot. All
right, Winter, what about you? I mean, as Syndrome was just mentioning, Empire, it does seem like there's a bit of a split in expectations. A lot of people they kept mentioning like Empire has a lot of potential. They were sad that maybe they didn't make it to the qualifiers at ESL 1. They are here at TI5. Some people still have hopes, but is it too early to tell? What are your thoughts on Team Empire?
I think they have a lot of potential as a team. They are young and a lot of ambition. They play very aggressively. It's very suitable in the current patch, but in the match versus VG, I'm actually more interested to see which VG Gaming actually show up, because they're not on a very good run, and they have very high expectations on their back. And from what I heard from someone like a reliable source, that they're actually reverting back the drafting position towards FY, because recently, for the past month or so, Hao has been drafting after joining the team, and there were mixed results, and obviously they weren't really too happy about it. And for this event, FY is drafting again for the team, so I'm very interested to find out how is the form of the team in general.
Yeah, we should note, of course, Vici Gaming last TI was looking pretty strong, going for the run all the way, then got stopped by Newbie in the finals and just had to rest at second place. Coming in, do you think most people, Ben, can have that same high expectation that they have a very good chance of making it all the way to the finals, or do we have to wait through the group stages to find out again which Vici is here?
I chatted with Ice, and I was like, I don't know whether to place you guys like 3rd through 8th or anywhere from 3rd through 8th. He's like, I don't know either. so I was like, well,
that means he's not confident he's top 2.
That's usually a
no,
bad
there
sign,
you go.
because he usually says something like, we are probably top 2 or 4, probably like
Oh,
he's usually
okay.
very confident.
Right. So a little bit of a maybe different attitude coming in. But at the same time, this TI5, a lot of people, I think, we're already noticing a lot of expectations perhaps not being that accurate. Teams are still figuring things out. Of course, the patch playing a big role in that. People are still talking about how different is this patch, starting from 6.83, coming into 6.84. And as we look at the lineup here for Vici Gaming. So these two teams playing their first game, I believe, of TI5 coming in here on day 1. Empire versus Vici. Do you guys have any strong predictions about this?